Hello, today we're going to build the kit to motorize your W16 IGUS slider. So we're going to go ahead and start right in. The first thing you want to do is grab the motor mount, this unit right here. Second thing, you want to look at your motor. Obviously we chose a 12-volt precision gear motor. You can also use our 3 to 12-volt gear motors as well, plus a number of other motors. This motor mount can actually work with several different types of motors and or gear motors. You can also use our stepper motor mounts as well. That would obviously replace this mount. But we're going to go ahead and start right in. The first thing you want to do is you want to rotate this around to make sure that your center shaft right here is in the center of the bore. We're going to go ahead and grab our little 3mm screws here, Phillips head screws, and put that one in. We're not going to tighten that one up all the way, so we can line this one up okay. And here we go. Now we can go back and tighten this one up and tighten that one up. So now we got them both tight. Next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to put the mount together. So I actually pre-assembled this unit, and so all you need to do is use your 632 by 1/4 inch socket head cap screws right here. Put them in your hub adapter here, and as well as your flat plate right here. And so that's what you'll have. You'll put all 4 screws in just like this. And now what you'll want to do is actually take your 6mm to 1/4 inch bore, 6mm bore to 1/4 inch bore shaft coupler, and you're going to actually want to take one of the shafts here. We'll take the long one here, slide it into the 1/4 inch side. You may have to undo one of the set screws here. So you're going to run it all the way down so it actually hits the inside bore of the 6mm. It won't go down any further. Just barely tighten that up, just like so. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to set the depth on here. So now you're going to run it all the way down here. Make sure, obviously, you have got the set screw resting directly on the flat of the gear motor. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten that up, and actually tighten it up pretty good. Not so tight that you're going to strip out the set screw there, which would be hard to do. But now we're going to go ahead and loosen this one up, take that shaft out. So that's what you should have so far, is we went ahead and set the depth, how far that should sit on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and assemble the little pre-mount here right onto the motor mount. So what we're going to do here is we're going to slide that right over. We're going to grab 4 more of our 632 socket head cap screws like so. Run that one in. Run this one in here. Just like that. And of course we're not going to tighten any of them yet until we go back around and make sure everything lines back up. So now we can go ahead and crank down on these things. Like so. There we go. And that is what you should have right there. There you go. The next we'll actually be using mounting it to our channel. Next we're going to go ahead and mount our little 585/470s to our channel. As you can see here, we have two channel pieces that are exact same. One goes on one end, one goes on the other. We're going to go ahead and mount these now like this. Use our 632 by 1/4 inch length socket head cap screws again. And put 2 of these mounts on each channel side. Go ahead and put that in like that. Just finger tighten those. Put it on our other side, just like this. Like that. So that's how they should be in there. And now we're going to go ahead and tighten these up. Tighten that one up. Tighten this one up. Like that. There we go. And now we have that ready to go. So now we're going to mount the gear motor system to this system now. So what we're going to do is, you can see here, the gear motor actually has its offset on the mount. So it doesn't really matter which direction or how you actually mount this. We're going to mount it with the offset towards the back side of this channel. So we're going to go ahead and put our 4 screws in here. Like so. Got to reach all the way through the other side of the channel here. This is probably one of the more difficult assemblies here. Whoops, as I drop a screw there. Try putting it back in there again and reach all the way through. Tighten that one up like so. We're going to leave all of these loose as well for the time being, so we can actually put the coupling shaft in. Slide that through, just like so. And the last screw in, just like that. There we go. And we're going to leave those, we're going to leave them loose just so you can kind of jiggle them out just around a little bit. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in our 1/4 inch bore 1/2 inch flanged ball bearing. We're going to snap that in the other side, opposite side. We're going to grab our shaft once again, slide that all the way through. This is going to help align everything, even though that shaft sticks out a little bit further, that's fine. It's going to help align the motor, gear motor system. Now we can come back through and tighten this back up, or actually tighten these, clamp these down, screw them down nice and tight, all 4 of them. Now that we know that everything is in line, and there we go. Now we can go ahead and pull this shaft system back out. And now what we can do is, you can see here, the kit comes with 2 pulleys, 16 tooth XL pulleys. We're going to grab our short shaft, actually, excuse me, long shaft right here. And we're going to grab the pulley here first. You also want to make sure that your set screw is pointing to the outside, that way you have easy access to it. So we're going to go ahead and slide this all the way through, like so, and all the way in. You may need to loosen that. Sometimes these little set screws will screw themselves in a little bit. So now you're going to go ahead and leave that loose for right now. Put in your other bearing in like so. Snap that in just like that. Push that all the way. Leave your pulley loose. Now once again, make sure that the set screw is on the flat of your shaft, just like so. You can see here, let me push that back up. Hold it up, I guess. Tighten that down. Just need to barely snug it down pretty good. And now what we'll do, so now your shaft won't come out. Now you got your bearing here. Now what you want to do is take one of your 1/4 inch little 16th inch thick black spacers. And what this allows it to do, allows it to run on the inner race of the ball bearing, not on the outer race, where it keeps things a lot more smooth. Now you're going to grab your 1/4 inch set screw collar, slip that over the end. Once again, we're going to be on the flat of the shaft. Squeeze that down and tighten that down. And now you have your motor drive, or your drive end assembly almost complete. We're going to leave this loose, and I'll show you how to bolt these up here in just a bit. Now that we've built the drive end of the W16 Slider Kit, we're actually going to go ahead and build the belt tensioner kit. So we're going to go ahead and grab the other piece of channel, just like this. And we're going to grab the other mounts just like we did before. And we're going to go ahead and assemble it here just like we did on the drive end. Both ends are very similar, as you can see. They just obviously consist of a few varying components. And we're going to go ahead and tighten that up just a little bit. We'll wait till we get the other one in. Like this. That forward, and grabbing, of course, as you can see here, the kit comes with a numerous selection of 632 by 1/4 inch length socket head cap screws. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten this down, just like that, just like that. Come back and tighten down this other side here. There we go. So now we have our little 585-470 mounts in there. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and grab our black acetal square plate with the actual square hole in the center, and a couple of these other components here you'll find there in your kit, plus our ball bearing pillow blocks. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our 1-inch shaft, slide it through our second pulley here, 16-tooth pulley. And what you want to do is you want to get that shaft as close to the middle of that pulley as possible, or the pulley in the middle of the shaft as possible. And you've got a little bit of variance in the kit, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So looks like we got it just about in the middle. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down pretty good. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our black spacers here again, and 2 of them go on each side. So this is going to space it away from the pillow blocks. You've got 1 there, 2 on that side, and 1 there, and 2 on the other side. So that's what you should have so far, 2 little spacers on either side. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our pillow block. Now you can tell on our pillow block we actually have the bearing presses in one direction here. You can see the little stop on one end. We're actually going to want to put this in so these little black spacers actually rub on the inside race of the ball bearing. So you're going to want to put it on the side that the ball bearing was pressed in. I'm going to go ahead and mount it just like that. Bring the other one across as well. And just like that. That should snap down. There we go. So that's what you should have so far. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our flat plate. Just set that down and grab our flat plate. Run our carriage bolt through the quarter-inch, quarter 20 carriage bolt. So that should go in just like that. Now we're going to kind of put our fingers like that. We're going to mount our drive, our idler pulley on this side. We're going to grab our 632 quarter-inch bolts as well again and put these in. Whoops, I dropped one on the floor there. Luckily, I think the kits come with a few extra in case you have long, deep shag carpet and can't ever find it again. So there we go. And last one. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten this up. There we go. And when you tighten these up, especially when any kind of screws, especially socket cap screws, when you're screwing them down against a sheet of plastic, you don't have to tighten them down that tight. You don't want to tighten them down so tight that the plastic's very tough, but you can, if you really crank on this, you can deform the plastic. So it doesn't need to be that tight. They're not going to work themselves out. So that is what you should have so far. That should spin freely. As you can see there, the tolerances against the carriage head bolt are pretty close, but you have plenty of room for that belt to slide through. So that's what you should have so far. Next, we're going to go back again and grab we're going to slide this in like so. Now we're going to go ahead and grab this plate right here. And you can see here, one end of the plate, or one side of the plate, I should say, has a hex. And so you're going to want to flip that around so the hex is actually toward the inside of the plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this in like so. And now we're going to slide that quarter-inch bolt right through like that. So now you have these holes right here lining up. And you have the hex on the opposite side on the inside, and it's nice and smooth right there on the outside. So once again, we're going to grab our quarter-inch 632 socket head cap screws. We're going to run them all the way around on the outside here. And now we can go ahead and tighten all 4 of them down. There you go. There you go. Now you can see it'll easily tighten up your belt. And now we'll go ahead and grab our little double arm screw right here. As you can see here, this is hollow, so it will actually work all the way through the end as well. So, but we're going to go ahead and leave this loose because you're going to need it nice and loose when we start to mount this on the end. So next, we're going to go ahead and mount these onto the ABS plates, and that will be coming up in just a second. Now we're going to go ahead and mount both the drive in as well as the belt tensioner in we're going to attach them actually to the ABS plate. So we're going to go ahead and, both plates are the exact same. Obviously they're just mirror images of one another. So since we're going to go ahead and put the drive on the left side, we're going to go ahead and mount this plate here. You can see it's got the hair cell here and the smooth side. The smooth side will always go toward your slide. So anyway, what we're going to go do first is we're going to go ahead and bolt it just like this. So we're going to go ahead and grab our 632 countersunk screws, bolt it on, and this system gets a little heavy, so we're going to put it like this and get that first one going in. Like I said, I always say don't ever tighten it all the way yet, and go ahead and bolt this one on like so, and the last 2 screws here. Once we get that last one in, we can go ahead and tighten this thing up. And here we go. Now we can go ahead and tighten this up. Cross them over, like so. There we go. So now we have that one in. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the belt tensioner side. And we're going to go ahead and mount it just like this. So we'll go ahead and put that on like this. Grab the other screws here like this. Put that in like that. 3 more to go here. Set those in. And there you go. Got it here. And tighten them down here. Just like that. There you go. Now those should be flush for both systems. So that's what you should have so far, just like that. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is the IGUS W16, it's not tapped in the end. Whoops. It's not tapped in the end. As you can see here, as my parts start to fall, as I grab this, you can see here it's not tapped in the end. And so what we're basically going to do is we're going to actually use standoffs that will bolt onto our ABS plates, and they're actually going to just slide right in the end. So we're going to go ahead and put those on now. So we're going to grab bolts right here, and they're going to go into these holes right here, dropping all kinds of parts here. Like this. Go ahead and grab this other one here. Get that started. Run it all the way in there like that. So, grab the other one here. And run that one all the way in. You're going to want to run the washers on this one side, on the bolt head side as well. This. We're going to go ahead and tighten these down. Just like this. There you go. And we'll grab the other side here. Tighten that down. And there you go. And what you need to do is you need to do that for the other side as well. You'll put them through this side, so the standoff comes through this side as well. And once we do that, then we'll go ahead and mount it to the channel, or the slider. Okay, now that you actually have your standoffs mounted on both the channel, or the IGUS slider, the belt tensioner end, as well as the drive end, you still have your pulley loose like that. Now we're going to go ahead and mount them on the slider. See here, I went ahead and took the top plate off already. I'm going to go ahead and slide this right in the end, like so. Just like that. Let's see here. I have to kind of guide them in just like that. So that should go right in the drive in. And now we're going to go ahead and put the belt tensioner side on, just like so. And that should slide right in the end. So basically, that way we've got them in the end. And set this back down. Now we're going to go ahead and put our belt system on. And let me run these screws under here, screws over here, and our stainless steel screw plates here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and run our belt. So you should go ahead and grab your belt here. And your belt is already pre-cut to a certain length as well. So now we're going to go ahead and feed our belt through one end here. So I slide it all the way through right here. I'm going to go ahead and feed it through the back side of this pulley, right like so. Bring it all the way through. Pull the rest of the belt up and come back the other side. The other direction, I should say. Just like that. Pull that down around there. There we go. So that's what you should have so far like that. We're going to keep that pulley loose. And now we're going to go ahead and string it back the other direction. Like so. And string this through here on this back side and poke it on through here. There we go, and pull it on through here just like that, and then back through. Now you want to make sure your belt tensioner is as loose as it will go. So now we'll bring this back to the middle here, like so. And that's where you should have. The belt's going to be probably 3/4 of an inch apart on the ends. So there we go. And next we're going to go ahead and start to mount our plates. Now that you have your belt through both the drive end as well as the belt tensioner end, we're going to go ahead and mount our belt mounts to our center plate, or the plate actually goes below the main aluminum plate. So you can see this little part here. You should have 6 of them in your kit. Basically what these do are these going to go, you can actually see how they grip into the belt, and you're going to actually triple stack these, which will actually end up making them the same thickness as the belt. So just go ahead and drop them in there. And at first you might think they might fit in there a little bit too loose, but they actually tighten up once we put all the screws in them. So as you can see right there, it's the same thickness as the belt. Teeth line inside. So there's that one, and we're going to do the second one here. Grab the other belt, slide them in, just like that. And you want to make sure you're using all of the, put the belt all the way to what hits the bottom, or the end of the grooves. Flip that one around, and just like that. So now we should have two of them just like this. So now what we want to do, in order for this to mount to the bottom plate, you need to actually rotate this way. And so what that does is going to create a lot of holding power, but also it's going to kick this belt out wide enough so that it lines up with our 16-tooth pulleys on either end. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our plate. As you can see here, you've got 8 countersunk screws here, screw holes I should say. And we're going to go ahead and mount it just like this with that kicked at a 90-degree angle. So basically just like this at a 90-degree angle, back behind this plate. And we're going to put in 4 of our longer countersunk screws like this, like I'm showing now. And now on the back side you can see those screws coming through. So we're going to take one of 2 of our stainless steel plates. We're going to mount it on like this and tighten this down. And you can go ahead and crank these down pretty good. Like I said, this plate is going to go under the aluminum plate, which you're going to be mounting your camera and so forth to. And on that plate, if you have any size hole or anything like that, we also left a hole right here. That way you can run a bolt up through here if need be. So next we're going to go grab our second one here. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to rotate it this direction, 90 degrees, out like this. Therefore it kicks the belt out further this direction. And we're going to bolt it up. So, and put all 4 screws in. And we're getting very close to finishing this kit. So grab the second stainless steel plate like this, bolt it on the back side, and tighten this up. And go back through and check these screws here. I think we're all good here. So that's what you should have. Just like this, the belt should be almost in line with this plate here. If you turn it over, you can see they're actually bent around the curve right here. So what that, like I said before, what that does is going to kick it out away from this other belt. So there you go. Now we're going to go ahead and mount this to our slider, just like this. So what we're going to do, since your slider actually has a little indentation, you can see it right here. See right here, and that of course sits down here. We couldn't put it directly on this, otherwise it would flex your bottom plate. We actually have 4 spacers right here, and these spacers are going to line up with these outer holes. So we're going to go ahead and set this down like this. These spacers will go on top of our bottom plate, like this. Now we'll go ahead and grab our stock bolts that came with the W16 slider, and just tighten those with our fingers at first. Go ahead and put this one in here. Tighten those and go around, like I said, can't stress enough that it goes on top of the bottom plate, like that. Feed that one through, and do the opposite side here. I'll scoot this forward a little bit. The opposite side on top, line those holes, like that. Now one thing too, when you're assembling this back together, more or less as it was before, except with these plates in there, there's some fine adjustments that you'll want to do. And if you've had your slider for any given period of time, if you've been using it or this is the first time, I'll kind of go through it as well. So obviously this will slide back and forth. What you'll want to do is you'll want to go ahead and tighten these down like this. Get this one tightened down here. That, go through and cinch them down. Oops, on this other one. A little bit of trouble on this side. I think I've got the slide off to one side here. Let me readjust that a little bit. There we go. There we go. Okay. Tighten that one down. We'll go over here. We'll skip those center ones at this time. See there, it slides pretty well. So we're going to continue on. Tighten these down. Because what will happen is you'll get all these tightened down, and then the slide will actually, it won't want to slide very well. It will actually be pretty stiff to move back and forth. And although it will be, there is drag, you want the drag to be consistent along the whole length of the slide. So basically that's pretty good right there. It wants to slide okay. Now we'll go back through and we'll tighten these up pretty good. And you may have to do this 2 or even 3 times to get it just right. Tighten that one down. So now you can see there it doesn't want to slide at all. So what you want to do is on any particular side you want to loosen it up. On this side here primarily I think. And now you kind of want to jiggle around. You want to slide it back and forth, move it around a little bit, hold it, and then tighten them again. Like that. And it's still a little bit tight, so let's do this other side here. Move it back and forth. There we go. It's loose now. Tighten it. There you go. That's perfect right there. So go one more time and go through to make sure they are tight. And very good. So you can actually move it. It's nice and consistent. So now what we're going to want to do is go to this other end right here, the drive in. Loosen that up. You want to reach in there, and you're going to want to tighten the set screw. You want to make sure too that the pulley is all the way up against the shaft coupler. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that up on the flat. Once again, you need to make sure that the set screw is going up against the flat. Put the belt back over there. So now that's how it should look there. Now we're going to go the opposite end, the belt tensioner side. And now we can go ahead and tighten this up. So we're going to go ahead and rotate the knob here. Move it a little bit more this way. Now we're tightening it up a little bit. And this is something you're going to want to play around with a little bit as well, is exactly how tight you want to hit this belt. Obviously you can get it extremely tight. You just want to make sure that as far as depending on the precision of the motor that you're using to run this, you're just going to have to play around a little bit. If you get it too tight, obviously it's going to have some drag, and the motor's going to have some drag on it. It won't want to go extremely slow or be smooth when it's very slow. So you're just going to have to kind of play around with the belt tension a little bit. We like to just tighten them up just enough where you can kind of, you can still move the belt, but when it's running you don't see the belts chattering or anything like that. So anyway, there you go. This is the motorized kit for the IGUS W16. It's all ready to go. And as you can tell, you can bolt. The nice thing about it is that it utilizes all Actobotics components, and there's some other videos that you'll be able to find on ServoCity.com that show you that you can bolt other channel to it. We actually have some other options. We have some feet that will actually bolt on. We actually have some switch mounts that will also bolt on that will allow you to run the slider back and forth, and depending on the electronics that you want to set up on it, you can have it ping pong back and forth. So there you go. Good luck.